Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come and our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Order, clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order number 43 of the County Assembly of Isiolo Standing Orders and Section 58A of County Government Act, I received communication from the Office of the Governor by letter dated 3rd January 2023 on the nomination of the selection panel for the recruitment of 2 members of Isiolo County Public Service Board. Honorable members, I hereby convey the message that the following were nominated by His Excellency the Governor to the selection panel for the recruitment of 2 members of the Isiolo County Public Service Board. Number 1, Colonel Retired Sheikh Hassan Bonaya as the chairperson. 2, Sumaya Mohammed as a member. 3, Linus Turanira Kishunge as a member. 4, Peter Muhua Ngeshu as a member. 5, Florence Kainda Thiga as a member. Honorable members, we are required to consider the communication so that the selection panel could discharge its duties within the shortest time possible. I now commit this to the selection committee. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motions to quiz. Motion, debate and adoption of selection panel for the recruitment of 2 members of Isiolo County Public Service Board.
Mr. Speaker, I stand up to move a motion on the debate and adoption of the selection panel for recruitment of 2 members of Isiolo County Public Service Board, ICPSB. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 43 of the County Assembly of Isiolo's Standing Orders and Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House debates and approves the nomination of the selection panel to recruit the 2 members of the Isiolo County Public Service Board. Mr. Speaker, the nomination of the selection panel for the recruitment of the 2 members of the County Public Service Board the names which I'm now tabling before the House is as follows. Colonel Retired Sheikh Hassan Bonaya, the chairperson. Sumoya Muhammad, the member. Linus Tunanira Ichunge, the member. Peter Muhuha Ngechu, member. And Flores Kaindi Ndiga, the member. The names of the nominees are hereby forwarded to the County Assembly, and we have received it. Mr. Speaker, it is important to have this board in place because it is very important at the inception of this government that His Excellency the Governor put all his systems in place for the government to function properly. I now table this one, move this motion to be deliberated upon by the members of the Assembly, and I request a seconder and the motion to be open to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I second the motion.
Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order number 43, 3A, 43-3A, which state that the Speaker shall read to the Assembly any message from the Governor or the Senator of the County delivered to the Speaker for communication to the Assembly. 3, which reads, when a message from the Governor or Senator of the County is read, the message shall be deemed to have been laid before the Assembly, and the Speaker may either direct that the message be dealt with forthwith, appoint a day for the consideration of the message, refer the message to the relevant committee of the Assembly for consideration. Since this matter is of significant importance to the county, I will be guided by 43-3A, which allows me to direct that the message be dealt with forthwith. So we are going to dispense of the message of the Governor on the floor of the House today. We go ahead with the motion, and I propose the question on the debate and adoption of selection panel for recruitment of 2 members of Isiolo County Public Service Board. Pursuant to Standing Order 43 of the County Assembly of Isiolo Standing Orders and Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House debates and approves the nomination of selection panel to recruit the 2 members of Isiolo County Public Service Board. The floor is now open for debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance to air my sentiments. I really do support the motion because as it is, the county, we are not able to employ officers who are supposed to serve the government, and for any government to be effective, it must have a vibrant civil service. And the civil service, the members are recruited by the service board. So I feel it's timely that I urge members also even to support this motion and dispense with it as soon as possible to enable our account move forward. And with those few remarks, sir, I beg to sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this time to contribute to the motion. I think we are all aware the work of the County Public Service Board is the organization which, is the organ which is mandated to do the employment in the county. Having that crucial work to do, and now they are lacking the full body to continue with the recruitment process. I think it is just in order for us to fully agree to the debate, to the motion, so that we give them time, we approve this motion so that they continue to dispense their mandated work in the county. Because without those two members becoming on board, and I think their hands are going to be not fully operational. I really concur with the motion, and I fully support it so that they go ahead and fulfill their mandate for our people to go and get employed in the county, and the county governor to have full people, everyone to be represented in the county, so that the work of the county will go ahead without any hitch. So I really support the motion, and I beg to sit down.
Honorable Kiambi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, unipe nafasi ili
Put your mic on.
niunge hii mjadala mkono
Sorry,
kwa hii selection ya
sorry, Mheshimiwa Kiambi.
Yes.
It has just been brought to my attention that you are the seconder of the motion. So you can give your time to another member to contribute.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable Geka.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni vizuri tuweze kupata hizi majina na tupitize hii motion ya service board, ndo our members wawe at least wote wako kwa serikali na waweze kusaidia kaunti yetu iende mbele, ndo watu waweze kuajiriwa, ndo tupate matunda ya kaunti. Mheshimiwa Spika, wakiwa hapo wataweza kusaidia vijana wetu ambao wanatafuta kazi. Kama tutazidi kukaa bila kupata hiyo watu na tushindwe kuwapitisha hawa maafisa, tutakuwa na shida. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tukiwa hapa kama members, ningependa kuomba members wengine pia wakubaliane na sisi, tujaribu kusupport hii motion ndio tuweze kusaidika. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question. Pursuant to Standing Order 43 of the County Assembly of Isiolo Standing Orders and Section 58A of the County Government Act 2012, this House debates and approves the nomination of selection panel to recruit the two members of the Isiolo County Public Service Board. Will as many as of the same opinion say aye?
Aye.
Those of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to move a motion on the drought situation within the county. That aware that Constitution of Kenya under Article 43(1)(c) guarantees every person a right to be free from hunger and to have adequate food of acceptable quality. Further aware that data from National Drought Management Authority, NDMA, indicates that majority of Isiolo residents are facing acute hunger, with the current situation at a very alarming stage. The prolonged dry spell that has lasted for the last 3 years has depleted nearly all pastures and dried up of wells, thus threatening pastoralism, with the main source of livelihood for the majority of residents. Noting that these severe dry spell have caused residents trekking many kilometers to the neighboring counties of Garissa and Tana River in search for pastures and water for their livestock, which further inflicted emaciation and death of over 80% of the herds. Worried that those who lost their herds as a result of devastating drought might turn to criminal activities like cattle rustling as means of survival, thus causing more suffering to the residents. Concerned that ongoing drought has caused malnutrition among the children under the age of 5 years, elderly people, expectant and lactating mothers, and school dropout among students in secondary schools and institutions of higher learning, forcing these teenagers to engage in antisocial activities like robbery, teenage pregnancies, and abuse of substances. Further concerned that if urgent measures will not be put in place, this drought will have devastating impacts on lives and livelihood of residents. This House Assembly urges the county government in collaboration with other stakeholders to put the following measures in place to curb further damages. 1. Declare drought as a county disaster. 2. Provide supplementary livestock feeding to the farmers. 3. Initiate livestock offtake program in the affected areas. 4. Provide adequate emergency relief food. 5. Provide regular water tracking services. 6. Provide bursaries to the students within the county. Mr. Speaker, the true situation in this county is really alarming. I've just returned along with other members of county assemblies of this house from the wards within the county, and also as I stand, we have some members of county assembly in Tana River and part of Garissa. On behalf of the communities, we dispatch them to seek for pasture and water. We were with our governor, who visited, and we confirmed the report of the NDMA as true. It is the entire county actually which has been affected. We have a lot of influx of youth whose livestock perished, now trekking on foot, coming into the urban area in search of livelihood. Mr. Speaker, the situation actually is also worse within the so-called urban areas of Isiolo County. So such youth actually cannot be able to get any source of livelihood, which now they come to the area thinking that is going to be an alternative. Mr. Speaker, the children have been abandoned in the villages with their mothers. We have young girls actually who have left their villages seeking for food. Mr. Speaker, the animals which have died actually were the only livelihood for the said communities, pastoral communities. It is even late that the offtake have not been addressed at the national level, and 80% of the animals is the data which has been actually collected by NDMA and the partners. But as I'm confirming in this house, Mr. Speaker, 3 days ago when we left my ward, and that is the only ward, by the way, Kina, where the rainfall, unfortunately, on in just a narrow area, a small part of Kina ward is which has got the rain. It is not even enough for the inhabitants of Kina ward. But these animals have come as far as even Moyale, come from Moyale, Marsabit County, and Wajir and Mandera. Already there is insecurity which has been actually experienced in part of Garbatula where we were, that without coordination from part of Garissa, animals were trekked into Garbatula, heading to Kina, but some youth, the youth that we are referring to, which have lost animals, were able to go and install some animals, and I think even deaths were reported from the people who have come from the Garissa side. This movement is so much in haste that there is no dialogue or coordination with the inhabitants in Kina ward and part of Garbatula. Mr. Speaker, the situation is so alarming. Even the kind of a survey which has been done by the international organizations that have responsibility in the county has been overtaken by event. Like for example, in Kina, is excluded from consideration in the food and other development, saying it has got better status. That of the malnutrition level is better in Kina ward. Now today, those animals which have come into Kina have depleted even the small pasture and water. The conflict is being experienced. That is why His Excellency the Governor listened to the communities which proposed that the leaders and the Council of Elders must go to Tana River where there is rain and ask for pasture. Mr. Speaker, the children definitely cannot go back to school because of hunger. Food should be provided in every school, Mr. Speaker, whether it is boarding or day scholar. Food must be and all meals actually for the day have to be provided to the school-going children. Mr. Speaker, actually this county has got a role of doing mitigative measures in security and also address the psychological effect that this drought has had on the people. We are not sure of even getting rain, Mr. Speaker, in April. It is God who knows. But there is high chance of even the 20% of the livestock population in this county is going to perish. Off-take, Mr. Speaker, is urgent. We have to take it up to the national government. And Mr. Speaker, this is the time actually all the project development has to be freezed and we must feed our people. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I am asking for the seconder and I'm asking for this House to contribute and declare this drought as a disaster in the county. I beg to sit down, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Raima, you will second and contribute to the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, again for giving me time. I second the motion and I'll continue to support it by giving my settlement. I think from where we stand now, I think it's in everyone's mouth that the disaster is really coming to our place. Drought is really alarming. The situation is really bad, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think I'm not going to agree more to this motion because everything is very evident. All the evidence is very glaring. It is seen from every part of this county. In as much as I'm sure everywhere in the country is affected, but our county is really much affected by this. Reading the report from the NDMA, National Drought Management Authority, we've come to see, in as much as we are feeling it from where we are seated, we've seen a lot of issues as indicators to the worst hit drought. If we look at the, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are people who live with, our livelihood is dependent on animals. In as much as we depend on these animals, we actually, from the food we eat, from the school fees our parents, as parents pay to our kids, is all coming from this livestock. But as we stand now, the livestock is gone. I think the poverty level of this county is gone up, Mr. Speaker, sir. If you see the livestock body condition, it's not there. Everywhere is carcass. I'm sure my colleagues passed virtually every ward in this county, and they have witnessed and attested to what is really happening with their own eyes. I'm sure even the schools are going to be affected in this county. Where we are seated, I'm sure everyone is really feeling the heat of this drought, Mr. Speaker, sir. Our animals are not there. We are going to declare, apart from even declaring animals' deaths, we are going to declare very soon, God forbid, people are going to perish. Because if you really depend on these animals, and these animals are gone, where are you going to get your food? Because the body condition of the animals is not there. The vegetation cover is not there. These animals are not getting anything. And you perish because whatever you depend on has actually perished. Livestock mortality is everywhere. I can't talk more about that because we are really feeling the heat. And also, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also, as a parent, I'm so perturbed because schools are going to open very soon, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I'm seeing the danger of our kids not going to school. Because one, if these schools are not going to provide food, because in this pastoral area, most of our kids go to school because they get some school fee, they get some food from there. If there's no food at home, people run to schools so that they get food for their stomach. Now, if we are not going to provide school with meals, both primary and secondary school, in as much as not under the mandate of the county, I think no kid is going to go to school, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because food is not available at home. If we avail that in the schools, I think some continuity to some percentage is going to be realized. As a mother, I'm also concerned with the girls going to school, both primary and secondary school. Unless now, in as much as we provide food maybe, and also some water to these schools, we also need to provide dignity kits to these schools, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because the dignity kits, the parents do not have money to buy these essential things. I know everybody knows the dignity kit I'm talking about. So to whatever, to all the statements written here, I also want us to include dignity kits for our girls. Because of a mother, I know how it pinches a parent who can't afford a meal, cannot afford to buy a sanitary towel for the girls. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I earlier said, I'm really in support of this motion, and I think we are supposed to move with a lot of haste to support this motion from the other members who are seated, so that we declare the drought as a disaster in our county, so that the government can now move ahead and provide the essentials, because we are moving back to essentials actually, apart from development now. Because food is essential service, which is supposed to be provided by the government. government, to its people, because we are not in an era where people will die with hunger. So I support the motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, and as I earlier said, I concur with the statement, with the motion, and I think all the members will stand up in support of this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Rahma. Honorable Oruguru. Sorry, Honorable Oruguru, before you contribute, allow me to propose the question. I thought we had already started debating. I'm sorry for that. Honorable members, I now propose the question on the motion on drought situation within the county, that aware that Constitution of Kenya and Article 43(1)(c) guarantees every person the right to be free from hunger and to have adequate food of acceptable quality. Further aware that data from National Drought Management Authority indicates that majority of Isiolo residents are facing acute hunger, with current situation at a very alarming stage. The prolonged dry spell that has lasted for the last 3 years has depleted nearly all pastures and dried up of wells, thus threatening pastoralism, the main source of livelihood for the majority of residents. Noting that this severe dry spell have caused residents trekking many kilometers to the neighboring counties of Garissa and Tana River in search for pastures and water for their livestock, which further inflicted emaciation and deaths of over 80% of herds. Worried that those who lost their herds as a result of devastating drought might turn to criminal activities like cattle rustling as means of survival, thus causing more suffering to the residents. Concerned that ongoing drought has caused malnutrition among the children under the age of 5 years, elderly people, expectant and lactating mothers, and school dropout among students in secondary schools and institutions of higher learning, forcing these teenagers to engage in antisocial activities like robbery, teenage pregnancies, and abuse of substances. Further concerned that if urgent measures will not be put in place, this drought will have devastating impacts on lives and livelihood of residents. This House urges the county government, in collaboration with other stakeholders, to put the following measures in place to curb further damages. 1. Declare drought as a county disaster. 2. Provide supplementary livestock feeding to the farmers. 3. Initiate livestock off-take program in the affected areas. 4. Provide adequate emergency relief food. 5. Provide regular water tracking services. 6. Provide bursaries to the students within the county. The floor is now open for debate. Honorable Aruguru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion and concur with my fellow members to declare drought as a county disaster. However, Mr. Speaker, it's a bit sad that 60 years of independence, 10 years of devolution, our county is still struggling with the basic infrastructure. We have a challenge as leaders of this county to make sure we put up long-term measures, long-term policies, long-term programs that will help us mitigate this drought. The Speaker, apart from the 6 measures that the governor has put out, I would also add, like my fellow colleague said, we need to incorporate school feeding program as part of measures to make sure our people go to schools. Because there is no community, there is no society that will ever grow without education. So, Mr. Speaker, going forward, I wish to, as members from this county, we come up with measures we make sure every school during the rainy season we plant trees. We make sure we reclaim our riverbeds, we reclaim our river sources by making sure we plant more trees, Mr. Speaker. Also, Mr. Speaker, we must also incorporate other means of livelihood apart from livestock. We must, as leaders, and let's go to those people, those leaders who mainly use livestock as means of livelihood. We must try and incorporate programs, other means of living. For instance, Mr. Speaker, we can try and introduce farming to those areas, because I understand our county has a very fertile land. We have crops like melon. Go to Garissa, go to West Pokot. We must instill this into our people. This dependency of livestock is driving our people poorer and poorer every day. It's the high time we lead, we show them the way. As a members of this house, I'm ready, and I request my members, please let us be the change that this county wants. Mr. Speaker, there's the issue of GMO. GMO, Mr. Speaker, from my little knowledge, these are crops that are drought resistant. These are crops that mature faster. And the earlier the better we adapt this GMO, especially in Isiolo County, the better for our people. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remaining words, I will support this motion. And I hope and pray that the executive, in collaboration with my fellow members and relevant committees, will come with programs that will offer long-term solution to this menace. More so, Mr. Speaker, I wish to request my fellow colleagues, we must make sure devolution is felt at the remotest part of this county. We can't be here 10 years of devolution and our people are still struggling with the basic infrastructure, like access roads. The earlier we put this infrastructure, the better we get investors. And the more we get investors, the more our people develop a new culture of survival, like masonry, like farming, like business. So, my fellow members, the ball is in our court. We must be the change that this Isiolo County needs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support.
Honorable Inaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It saddens me when I see on TV the way our people are struggling. Their livestock dying in masses. I remember once I had a cow and it was attacked by bees, and when it died, I really felt it. What about a person who has hundreds of herds and see them dying? It is really painful. It pains me. This one is 21st century. I think we need to do something about it. Because for sure, as I said here last time, Isiolo is endowed with resources. Because we have got a wonderful river, the Wasonyiro River. If we can tame it, we can irrigate almost the whole of Isiolo. And this menace that we are facing, it could be a thing of the past. There are other countries, even without any rain, and there's no rain for even 10 years. And they are very rich. So we need to change our culture and think big. And the people who are supposed to think big, it is us, we members and the executive, to make sure that our people are informed with the new ways of farming, because I feel all tribes in Africa used to rely on cattle or livestock, but they kept changing gradually. So I believe our people, we need to teach them and change gradually, to come to know that there are other ways of making money. I have been to West Pokot, lower side, the Turkana side, and at least they have started. We had a very good program many years ago. Those people who know Galfasa and Mochuro will attest to. They know that we had a very good irrigation project. I don't know why it died. We need to revive it. And let me say, I'm also happy with the governor, because the program that is coming with of irrigating, those pilot schemes will teach us even to move forward. Coming to, we have a problem when it comes, because our people really have been impoverished. There is no money in Isiolo. And as we are aware, Isiolo is one of the poorest counties in the Republic. So you can see how vulnerable we are. The resources we have, they are minimal. So my prayer is, we leaders, and we leaders of this assembly and the executive, we need to come together and even lobby the national government, because it is really affecting our people. Because if we continue the way we are continuing, I'm telling you, we have a problem even in the future. There's about bursary. The amount that we allocated to bursary is too little. Taking into account the drought situation, people are not even feed themselves. Even where I come from, Bulapesa, people are not able to feed themselves. There's a lot of poverty in Bulapesa, and people have turned even to crime, prostitution, because how you cannot wait your kid to die, and you can see other people enjoying. Sometimes even when I eat in my house, I remember there are people in this country who are not eating, who are dying of hunger. It is sad. So I'm asking fellow members, we declare this thing a national, a county disaster, because in fact I think we are right, because the signs were there. We saw it, but we were late. I know very many children will not go to school. The schools are almost opening. The bursaries are not enough. People are ringing us day and night, telling us not to forget their children, but with the little amount that is there, I think the national government should chip in and try to assist us. I thank the governor also, because if that abattoir that was started 12 years ago was working, people could not suffer the way they are suffering. They would have off-roaded those cows or even goats and sold them. So, for that reason, The governor, I know he told us, and we passed that amount. We should fast track and make sure that that abattoir is functional fast enough, so that even the little that is remaining, if the rain don't come, our people can sell the animals there. You know, me as a person who knows what God can do, I think we have forgotten one thing. People can pray for rain. We have got our sheikhs and imams and the bishops in Isiolo. We need even to contact them and tell them we need prayers in Isiolo County, because other places there's a bit of rain, but Isiolo, it is so sad. So if our bishops and our sheikhs and imams are hearing me, we still can we can talk to higher authority, and it is God. And rain, we don't expect this to continue even up to April. I have a strong belief, I feel it in my bones and even in my blood, that if we do that, then we will come to Isiolo. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me that chance to hear my sentiments, because for sure, if we don't allocate enough money and even source for it from elsewhere, our people are really going to suffer. We need, also as leaders, we need to lobby the national government to build us dams here, even one mega dam here in Isiolo, where people can do irrigation, because even water here in town is also a problem because of this prolonged drought. And with those few remarks, sir, I beg to sit down.
Honorable Neighbor.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa miaka mitatu hatujapata mvua. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna shida. Mheshimiwa Spika, mifugo imeisha. Mheshimiwa Spika, mtu ambaye ako na mifugo kama 100 ama hata 200 amebaki na kijiti peke yake. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nafikiri wazee huku ndani kwa mashinani hata wengine wamekuwa wazimu. Mheshimiwa, ukijaribu kuangalia kuna njaa, kwa sababu watu wakikosa hizo mifugo walikuwa wanategemea, unakuwa na njaa. Tunaongea mambo ya huku chini upande wa Mati, Sericho, Garbatula, Merti, hizo sehemu. Hii town tuko Mheshimiwa Spika, kama juzi hapa Wabera Wood, kuna harusi ilikuwa. Kuna mtoto ameenda hapo kwa harusi wakikula chakula kwa sababu wanakula kwa haraka Mheshimiwa Spika vile wako na njaa. Kuna mtoto mfupa imemwingia hapa kwa hii pipe ya esophagus. Mheshimiwa Spika, huyo mtoto alikuwa critical. Tulimkimbisha hospitali, alikuwa kwa hali mahututi. Hapa Meru akajaribu kutolewa ile mfupa. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nikisimama hapa kama mama ninasikia vibaya, ninahuzunika. Mheshimiwa, hii njaa imekuwa nyingi ambaye Mheshimiwa Spika ni Mwenyezi Mungu tu anaweza kutusaidia. Ile nyingine sisi kama viongozi ni vizuri tushirikiane, tuipitize hii mjadala ndio watu wetu waweze kusaidika. Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kaa tukiongojea watu wetu wakufe. Tukiwa tunawaona hivi na macho watu wetu wakufe. Maendeleo yote iwachwe kufanywa. Watu wenye wanaweza kufanywa maendeleo ni watu ambao wako hai. Kama tunahofia hata maisha ya watu na maisha yetu pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, sidhani kama kuna maendeleo tunaweza kufanyiwa. Mambo ya maendeleo isimamishwe kwa hii muda ambaye mpaka tupate mvua ndio tuweze kujisaidia. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuweze kusaidia watu wetu kwa chakula tupeleke huko mashinani, tupeleke hapa ward ya Bula Pesa, ward zote 10 Mheshimiwa Spika waweze kupata chakula. Watu wetu wakianza kuwa hata na nguvu ndio tutaweza kuwafanyia kazi, kwa sababu watoto wamekuwa, mtoto mwingine hata hawezi amuka. Unauliza watoto walikuwa wanacheza hapa, mwingine hapa wameshindwa kuamuka Mheshimiwa Spika, kama sehemu ya Mati wako kwa nyumba. Mama anasema hata wameshindwa kuamuka. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hivyo tutazika vile tumekosa mifugo ndio tutakosa watu. Wacha tulie kwa serikali kuu, hata mpaka hapa county, ile pesa kidogo tuko nayo tutumie hapa, ikiisha tulie huko. Mambo ya maendeleo tusimamishe, tuweze kusaidia watu wetu. Nikiongea zaidi Mheshimiwa Spika, niko na huzuni. Wacha sasa ninyamaze hapa, na nimeshukuru sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Asante, Mungu atusaidie.
Honorable Timalo.
Speaker. I also rise to support the motion. And I don't want to say that it is timely, but I want to say that it is overdue. We would have done this some times back. But okay, it's never too late. We can as well do it at this time. I think we are 3 years or 4 years down the line without rain. What does it mean to us who are pastoralists? It means that our livestock, what we depend on, is not there anymore, and we have seen that. We are saying here that it is 80%, but I can say it is actually 90% of all our livestock have actually perished. We've been seeing some government trying to flash some lorries carrying food relief from Nairobi, from here, and what's on the ground? Nothing. Nothing at all. Somebody getting half a kg of beans, half a kg of unga. Huh? How many days will that take a family? How many days? Is that enough? And we say we've given relief, we've given this. No. We're doing nothing. It's nothing. So, to me, I think we would have done it a long time ago. One is actually offtake. Actually, when the animals were actually emaciating, the government would have come in actually to buy and to supplement and giving communities that cash. I think we've seen all over the media. It's a ritual, all the carcasses. Some people are saying we cannot even visit those places because of that smell. All the animals have died. I think some of us visited that place a few days ago, and I think they weren't even assisting people to remove the carcasses. So that means it is disaster. It is famine. You know, famine. It is death. I think even human beings have already started dying. I don't know. What does it really, what does this mean? Because here in Isiolo, we are seeing rain here all the time. Just some within Isiolo here. But not beyond these mountains. There are mountains here, but rain has been, we've been receiving rain here in this town. To me, maybe these people are praying and they are not bandits. They are not bandits at the end of the day. What's happening on the other end? We are killing each other. Maybe God is trying to punish us. That okay, we've killed each other, and we've almost we've killed so many people, and that maybe God wants now to bring to the end this issue of this livestock. But it's our mainstay. Maybe God is saying that if the animals are all gone, then we'll have peace. Is it an indicator that there is peace coming? Because animals have already gone. We've killed each other because of these animals anyway. Maybe maybe that now will make us come back to town and maybe wait for relief, and then continue become these other people who are farmers, like my honorable here, Waithaka. He had only one cow, and that cow was killed by this. It's not a pastoralist. That's already an indicator that it's not a pastoralist. A pastoralist cannot have one cow. A pastoralist normally has to have several camels and several goats and cows as well. Well, maybe at the end of this season, we'll have no cows, we'll have no camels, we'll have no goats. Maybe we'll sit down now and think. We've killed one another because of these animals. What are we going to do now? Maybe there is this road going to Wajir. This road here, and most of us will be employed there as casuals. And then we will not fight one another. And maybe after that, we'll be given some seeds to start farming. Because that's that's another alternative now. We've refused to do that before. There's the Wasongiro River, which flows and even kills people down the stream, murder people there when it rains. One time the government of Kenya came with a plan of constructing a dam, a big dam called Crocodile Joe. There were a lot of demonstrations from the downstream that we don't want it. There will be no water down the stream. Animals will die. Okay? Maybe that would have irrigated, because the government actually, that was the big plan for the government, that we start some irrigation, at least to supplement our livestock with growing of crops and something like that. Maybe that's what is coming up now. That's what we as pastoralists we're supposed to maybe to start thinking about. Planting some sukuma wiki here, some cabbage, and then we buy ugali from Honorable Wedaka. Maybe that will be something we'll be thinking about in future. The successful governments have not actually supported pastoralism, because if they would have supported pastoralism, at least we would have not been bad as we are now. Maybe coming up with some where we can breed and come up with some animals which are drought resistant, which are disease resistant, and something like that. But that has not happened. It is because they've been thinking that this pastoralism thing is so primitive, is a backward thing, and cannot be supported, cannot be promoted. But of recent, they have started actually seeing that, oh, there's something else coming from north. But so many years back, we are 60 years old now, after independence, and I think it is maybe 10 or 20 years when they started recognizing issues with people with the north, that there are also potential. There's potential actually in the north. This is also an issue of governments not supporting the issue of pastoralism. And if they would have supported us by bringing some breeds and something like that, it would have been better. At least because we would have been having animals which can resist this drought, which has taken so long like now. There's this abattoir which we are supposed actually to use it maybe when it is ready. I think it has taken long now. At least maybe the abattoir would have also assisted us during this drought. They would have bought these animals, even when they are initiated like that. At least that would have supported. But since it has not taken off, we still have to accept the situation the way it is. My colleagues have said that schools will be opening very soon, and we all know that the school feeding program has been stopped. It used to be a program of World Food Program, and it was stopped maybe due to some problems within ourselves, within the Kenya government or something like that, that they will not continue with it. Issues of the bursary, the government should also come up with, our county government. The bursary actually amount, I'm told, because I'm not sure, it's about 33 million. That's what we are supposed maybe to share, to share to all the schools in the county. This is too little. It's too little. A county like Samburu is giving 200 million. 200 million. And the difference of what we get and what they get from the county is about 1 billion shillings. And yet theirs is about 200 million. So we need also to raise this amount. Because if we divide the 3 million with the wards we have, it means that each ward is going to get maybe around 3 million. Too little. It's nothing. It is nothing according to the population, the present population. My friend also here, Waidaka, has come up with the issue of the GMO. The GMO issue was started by the president, and it was actually, it raised a lot of eyebrows, and eventually it was stopped. It was stopped, and yes, I agree with him actually, that if we would have agreed with this, the GMOs actually, these are crops which are resistant to diseases and to pests and something, things like that. So Ours is that as our parliament, our assembly, should pass this with immediately without setting, because we are seeing, we are already, all of us have eyes. We have seen through all the media in this county, and it is actually bad. It is actually very, very bad, and I beg, I support, and that all we as the assembly should pass it without setting at all. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Amina.
Thank you, Bwana Speaker. Nachangia mjadala na support mjadala. This is my first time. Tunaomba tuongezewe basari kwa sababu ukame imeathiri watu wetu sana. Si wale pia wanaenda form 1, pia wale wanaenda college, tunaomba tu tuongezee basari kwa sababu watu wetu zamani wanategemea mfugo. Sasa ukame ilimaliza yote, tunaomba tu tuongezee basari kwa sababu wale wa form 1, wale wanaenda form 1, pia wale wanaenda college.
Thank you, Honorable Amina. Honorable Kiambi.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipea hii nafasi ya kuchangia hii mjadala muhimu sana. Hata kama imeingia ikiwa imechelewa, ni mzuri kwa wakati, kwa sababu hapa awali ni kama viongozi wetu wa Isiolo kama wamelala, na wanafaa waamuke, tufanye mikakati ili itaweza kusaidia watu wetu katika Isiolo County. Kama vile waheshimiwa wengine wamesema, hii Isiolo sisi ni wafugaji, na ukiangalia mwaka kama huu karibu miaka 4 hivi mvua haijatosha, ng'ombe imeisha. Na unajua sisi kama wakaaji wa Isiolo, ufugaji ndio marawe yetu katika mboma zetu. Ndio tunategemea maziwa, kuuza ng'ombe, inapeleka mtoto shule. Na kwa hivyo sasa kama hii disaster iko saa hii ni serious sana. Inafaa viongozi, serikali ya county na national government ipange mikakati ambaye ile itandumu kusaidia watu wetu wasipate njaa tena, kwa sababu kila wakati, kila mwaka tunalia. Sisi hatufikirii ni mikakati gani tunaweza fanya ili tumalize hiyo njaa. Pia mvua naye ni Mungu anafanya inyeshe, sio sisi tunasema inyeshe. Kama vile mheshimiwa amesema inanyesha hapa hivi round, unajua ni Mungu tu anasema inyeshe, sisi hatujui, inatukuta tu inatonyeshea. Kwa hivyo sasa vile tunatakikana katika Isiolo ni maombi sana, kwa sababu vile mheshimiwa mmoja alisema, maombi tuwe tunapata mvua ya kutosha, mifugo yetu isikufe, na pia watu wapate chakula. Mambo ya katika ward 10, hiyo ward ni kidogo ya Isiolo, na hatuwezi shindwa kuipangia hii ward 10. Kama ni Mariti tunaipangia, Shirisho, Sharab, Karibatula, Kena tunaipangia, na pia tunapangia hii ya town, kwa sababu hata hawa watu ya town hawalimi, hata wako na njaa. Kuna watu wanalala njaa na hawana kitu kingine ya kutegemea. Na out siku hiyo wewe silala njaa, utatoa mboga yako sukuma, alafu utengeneza ugali ukule usibe. Mambo ya wakati tulikuwa Karibatula, nilisikia gavana akisema tutafanya irrigation katika area ya Ngaramara eka 20. Area ya Mariti akasema tutafanya 50 acres. Na tunaongoja tu tufanye hiyo ili iweze kusaidia watu wetu kwa ukulima. Na hiyo alisema, nafikiri sisi wote tulikuwa huko mlisikia. Na tunamuunga mkono kwa hiyo maoni yake alitoa. Na tuiunge mkono iwe imefanyika. Sio kusema na mdomo alafu ikatae kufanyika. Kwa hivyo sasa mambo ya kondikilia hapa drought sister Isiolo County, hiyo mimi naunga mkono. Na pia mimi naona watoto wengi hawarudi shule kwa sababu hii basari inaenda pole pole, na 25 shule itarudi. Naona watoto wengi hawataenda shule sababu wazazi hawana pesa. Ingine katika hiyo 10 tunataka chakula ipelekwe shule. Ndio mtoto akitoka nyumba akiwa na njaa anakulia chakula shule. Lakini akikuta kama akiangalia shule haina chakula hawezi enda shule, atakaa nyumbani tu hapa. Kwa hivyo hiyo tupitishe kwa kauli moja ili watoto wetu waende shule. Na hii basari iharakishwe sana. Iharakishwe. Na hata gavana alisema atafanya itakuwa 50 million ya basari. Sijui labda ni ile hiyo supplementary nyingine ama mwaka hiyo nyingine alisema tukua karibatula. Na hiyo kitu inafaa itekelezwe ili watoto wetu wasome. Kwa hivyo kwa haya machache mimi nasema kama kiongozi wa Isiolo, kiongozi wa Isiolo, viongozi wote wakutane katika Isiolo wafanye mikakati ya kupangia watu wetu vile watakuwa wakipata chakula kila mwaka. Sio kila mwaka tunalia. Na bado tuko tu, hakuna mikakati tumefanya. Kama ni house itekelezwe na dams na iwekwe watu wa kuchunga pale isiharibike, kwa sababu ukishimba house kuna wahalifu naye wako hapo kukuja kuiba machuma. Kuna wengine wanakuja kuharibu, wengine hawajali mambo ya maisha ya watu, wanakuja kuharibu. Inawekwa watu wa kuchunga ili hiyo mbao isiharibike. Kwa hiyo mashache nasema naunga hii mjadala mkono na ifanyike immediately, kwa sababu watu wanakufa na njaa. Hata leo hii tukiongea kuna wale wamoki kwa nyumba, lakini tufanye mikakati haraka ili watu wapate chakula. Asanteni sana. Naunga mkono.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, you know when there is hunger, there is a lot of complication, diseases is also threatened. The health sector is threatened, security sector is threatened, cohesion of the community is threatened. Mr. Speaker, the economy is threatened. If you look at Isiolo County, tourism is one of our economy sector. We have witnessed actually how wildlife has died in big number. Mr. Speaker, this county has not addressed in the mitigative measures to help the wildlife. We have to consider actually the wildlife. It is finishing, Mr. Speaker, at a very high rate. The breed, the biological breed of our livestock is going to get finished. You know, Isiolo is the source of a Borana cattle breed, Mr. Speaker, which is known worldwide and known for the best beef, high quality beef. Mr. Speaker, it is going to finish because if now the data which we have is standing at 80% dead, Mr. Speaker, and this rain is not sufficient. So what it means that this intervention has to be very fast, Mr. Speaker. We have to move very fast. You look at we appreciate the other stakeholders like the NGOs, non-government organizations. But Mr. Speaker, if you look at the past 1 year, some of them are telling us that actually they give cash transfer of like 9 million for Isiolo County. That is not sufficient. It's not sufficient, Mr. Speaker. But by the time those data have been based on to get that 9 million, now the situation has worsened. So there is a need to come together immediately, urgently actually, Mr. Speaker, in the next 24 hours to mobilize also our stakeholders. The most affected people in the society now is almost actually at all levels of the generation. The elderly people. Today they need blanket, Mr. Speaker, not only food. Because the last 3 years they don't have capacity, economic capacity to buy even clothing. Mr. Speaker, the people living with disability are the most affected in all aspects of life, education, food, health, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have seen the mood of the House that this disaster, the declaration of emergency disaster in this county is supported by all the members of County Assembly, because those who are not here, Mr. Speaker, have gone to other counties to search for water and pasture. They actually, especially with us in this House, Mr. Speaker, I thank all the members of the County Assembly, and I thank you also to accept when I gave a letter as a majority leader to your office, Mr. Speaker, you were able to call for the special session. I thank you very much. I thank the members of the County Assembly, and with those, Mr. Speaker, it's over to you now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, the leader of majority, Honorable Gilo. Now I put the question: drought situation within the county. That aware that Constitution of Kenya under Article 43(1)(c) guarantees every person a right to be free from hunger and to have adequate food of acceptable quality. Further aware that data from the National Management Authority indicates that the majority of Isiolo residents are facing acute hunger, with current situation at a very alarming stage. The prolonged dry spell that has lasted for the last 3 years has depleted nearly all pastures and dried up all wells, and thus threatening pastoralism, which is the main source of livelihood for the majority of residents. Noting that this severe dry spell have caused residents trekking many kilometers to the neighboring counties of Garissa and Tana River in search of pastures and water for their livestock, which further inflicted emaciation and deaths of over 80% of the herds. Worried that those who lost their herds as a result of devastating drought might turn to criminal activities like cattle rustling as means of survival, thus causing more suffering to the residents. Concerned that ongoing drought has caused malnutrition among the children under the age of 5 years, elderly people, expectant and lactating mothers, and school drop among students in secondary school and institutions of higher learning, forcing these teenagers to engage in antisocial activities like robbery, teenage pregnancies, and abuse of substances. Further concerned that if urgent measures will not be put in place, this drought will have devastating impacts on lives and livelihoods of residents. This House urges the county government in collaboration with other stakeholders to put the following measures in place to curb further damages. 1. Declare drought as a county disaster. 2. Provide supplementary livestock feeding to the farmers. 3. Initiate livestock offtake program in the affected areas. 4. Provide adequate emergency relief food. 5. Provide regular water tracking services. 6. provide bursaries to the students within the county. 7, provide sanitary kits to the school-going girls. Will as many of same opinion say aye?
Aye.
Those of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order, clerk.
There is so successful.
Honorable members, we now adjourn the House to Tuesday, 14 February 2023, when our normal sessions will resume